Coming up on the game plan with Ron Rivera, it's Dallas week as the Commanders get ready to face the rival Cowboys at FedEx. Coach and I discuss what it takes to end the season with a dub, and we'll take you inside the film room to highlight some playmakers in this NFC East rivalry matchup. Later on, Coach and I will go behind enemy lines and review some of the Dallas game tape. Plus, hear from some Washington legends on what they want to see from the Commanders this afternoon. It's your inside look at the game plan, and it starts right now. The Game Plan with Ron Rivera is brought to you by your local Washington area Honda dealers. Visit your local Washington area Honda dealer today to see our sleek Accord Hybrid or our versatile CR-V Hybrid. Contact your local Washington area Honda dealer today for a great deal on the Honda for you. And by the Maryland Lottery Fast Play Games. Play fast, win fast today. Please play responsibly. Welcome to the Game Plan. I'm Logan Paulson here with Coach Ron Rivera. Coach, really exciting Dallas matchup today. What does a rivalry mean to you?
It means a lot. It really is. It's one of the, to me, it's one of the premier rivalries in the NFL. It really is, and all of football for that matter.
Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the things about this matchup, they've got a really good receiver, really good quarterback. What's the plan? What's the philosophy in terms of stopping CeeDee Lamb?
Well, I think first and foremost, to me, it's really about doing what you can against the run first and foremost, because a lot of stuff they do does come off of play action. But CeeDee Lamb is a special guy. You've got to understand where he is. They line him up all over the place.
Yeah.
Now, there are certain routes, certain combinations that do show up based on where he is. Our guys have been studying that. Hopefully, they'll be on it and have some success today.
Well, it's surprising you say it's off the run because they've been much less efficient running the football. But it's interesting that the whole pass game kind of, in your opinion, stems off of that stuff.
Yes, it does. It does. And again, the thing that you see when you really watch what they do, it does start once you get past the run game into what they do with CD.
Yeah.
They move around so much. A lot of their combinations, a lot of their route combinations come off of who he is. And then when he's singled up, he's even just as dangerous. And again, if you press a guy in single and it looks like single high, they're going to throw the ball vertical.
Absolutely right. They're going to try and take advantage of that matchup 100% of the time. What do you think of Dak Prescott? I mean, he's kind of having like an MVP caliber season. What do you attribute his success to?
He's having a lot of success. I think a big part of it is what Coach McCarthy's been doing with him. Okay, I think he's been making it easier for him in terms of certain throws, certain reads that he has to make, and giving him some also responsibility, because you do see him checking and changing the plays at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and it's always great when you give the quarterback that level of responsibility. Speaking of quarterbacks, right? Sam Howell getting a start this week. What's the expectation for Sam?
Well, I think, again, go out and play his game. You know, we saw it early against the 49ers, and again, did some really good things. We moved the ball well for the most part, but then again, we got a little inconsistent. One thing we got to be on offense is consistent.
Yeah, and one guy, in my opinion, who's been super consistent are the running backs, right? Yes. They've been very consistent. What have you seen from those guys, and can we expect more workload from them this game?
I believe we can. And again, looking at how we should attack these guys, there's some things that we got to do in terms of getting the ball to them, putting it in their hands, whether it be, through the airways, through screens, through runs. We've got to put the ball in their hands and, again, make Dallas play us. Yeah,
make them play all the phases of the game, right? And, let's take a look at some of B-Rob's stats right now. Been very productive this season. Let's check it out. Let's take a look at this week's Commander Spotlight, presented by Northwest Federal Credit Union, the official credit union of the Washington Commanders. Here's a look at Brian Robinson, a guy that's really been a standout this year with his physical running style and surprising everyone with how he's catching the football. 8 touchdowns this year, leads the team, 1,606 total yards. What an outstanding offense performance from the young running back. Can't wait to see Brian does against the Cowboys today. Let's fire up the film room, presented by the Maryland Lottery Fast Play Games. Play fast, win fast today. Please play responsibly. All right, Coach, coming off this San Francisco game, I thought there was a lot of good things from the offensive line, this guy number 8, in terms of things that can translate to what Dallas does well in terms of taking advantage of their pressure and running the football. So start with this one. I mean, I love a good screen. I think it's awesome. Really good, cool to see the big guys get out in space and kind of show how athletic they are. But I think those guys are doing a great job. And, Cosme mirroring Warner here is just showing what kind of athlete he is and how much he's developed over the last couple of weeks.
Very much so. Nick Gase also does a real nice job squaring up his man, too. So, again, first of all, a nice job selling from the inside, pulling the pass rush vertical. Then, secondly, good timing by Sam, getting it out into a good spot for B-Rob. But like you said, to me, the big heroes on this are both the center and the guard, getting out on their guys and creating the running lane. Look at this lane that B-Rob has to run through.
Yeah, that's a lot of space. And B-Rob is obviously a very physical guy. I mean, it's just so fun to see him in space, delivering blows to defensive backs. Always fun when they got to get up and adjust their face mask. But something about the timing of a screen, Coach. Maybe I'm a football nerd, but just seeing the timing, how it all shakes out, the guys getting out, the ball is out. Really nice play, and I love the finish, getting guys on the ground. Great to see that. That's stuff that's transferable, obviously, to this week. And then this one, we talked about the two guys earlier, right? We talked about B-Rob, but we also talked about these two guys on here on the double team, and it's great to see them playing physical ball and the running backs running hard. Absolutely.
And again, nice job scooping on up to it.
Yeah.
Sam makes good contact. Puts the tackle in position where Gates can go ahead and capture him, and then it allows Sam to get to the next level and create the crease that Antonio needs to run through.
Yeah, and like you talk about, this is something subtle, I think, that Gates does really well. Is just once he feels that pressure, the way he's able to work his hips and his hat to create that running lane is just a great job.
The key thing is, like you said, he works his hips, and you see it just in slow motion as he just whips it over, and there's the hole. Nice job.
Great job, and great to see guys finishing at the second level, and great to see Gibson get into some space. Great, ran really hard, I thought, and a really nice complimentary piece to Brian Robinson in this game for sure. And now let's talk about the thing that you have been doing such a great job with over the last couple weeks, which is the defense. And I love these types of plays where when you pause the tape, when the quarterback's at the top of his drop, there is nowhere to go with the football. That to me is good coverage. Coach, can you talk us through what's going on here?
Well, what we're playing is we're playing on one of our middle open defenses. And again, what we're trying to do is we're trying to match underneath, knowing that we have safety help, deep. And so whichever side you're on, if you're on the right side or left side of defense, you have help. You've got to make sure you put yourself in position, so that your leverage now is forcing your man to your help. So again, what we've tried to do is get to the inside, force them to the safety that's there in position. Here we have the linebacker, he's on the inside, forcing him to the safety where his help is. And again, then you add the pass rush to it. And again, this is where pass rush and coverage can work together very well.
Yeah, and it's great to see that the coverage is locked up. And again, the pass rush is coming along each and every week, getting a little bit better. Creates a nice pressure here, gets them out of the pocket. Like to see, Payne finish this up here. That turf monster got him, but great job and almost getting a pick here. Always great to see that kind of production from the defense. And here's another one, Coach. Great job in the red zone. I think you were talking about how this group has been performing so well in the red zone. But again, guys in position on their matchups. Love to see that. What are we doing here, defense?
Well, what we got whole help. So really what we do is we put our safeties in position where if they have a man, they match the man. If they don't, they're the inside portion of the help. So here we have one of our linebackers in position. He's a hole helper. And then on the other side, the other hole helper is the other safety. And again, they're just inside. That way, if anything breaks to the inside, they're there to give some presence.
Right. Another one, I just giving a shout out here to our guy, Emmanuel Forbes. Not playing a ton of football, but in this game, I thought did a good job against a good football player in Brandon Ayuk, staying in phase, staying in the pocket, and playing good physical down in terms of being a good relationship.
It really was a good physical down because, again, he's playing in good body position, but he's also playing low on the hip, which is one of the things that's allowable by the rules. So, again, he's in great position. He's just rolling with his man, doing a nice job, and making the ball be thrown away.
And that's always a tough throw, and it's really tough. And I always judge him how close you are to the receiver. Don't get much touch on that. Love the confidence there too by the young DB. And then again, we've talked about this guy every week, but I gotta shout out good football players, Coach, or stuff that I like. Let's just say that, right? And I like physical football, right? And so we got some type of post safety look here. He's playing the post, so this dude played all over the field. He played in the box, played deep. Great to see that from him. But I love when safeties separate the ball from offensive players. And that is a mindset. There's a toughness there that's so cool to see.
It really is. And again, like you said, we've got a middle close, so he's in the post. And all he's doing right here is reading the action. He's reading the quarterback. He's reading the release by the tight end, and he knows he's got to break downhill, makes a nice hit, forces the receiver to release the ball once he hits the ground.
Yeah, so great to see that kind of toughness, and great to see it in all three phases, right? Got a good offensive line, good physical running backs. Hope to see some of that today against Dallas. If you like the game plan, you'll love Command Center. That's our flagship Commanders content program. Joined Fred, Santana, and myself, we talk all things Commanders. Tune in Thursdays on the Commanders YouTube channel. When we come back, Coach and I head into his office to look over the Cowboys game tape and see where Washington might have an edge. That's next on the Game Plan with Ron Rivera, presented by your local Honda dealer. Welcome back to the Game Plan with Ron Rivera. Time for the Rivera Review, presented by DC Prime, Loudoun's premier steakhouse. For dinner reservations or private dining, call 703-840-2099. All right, Coach, got the Dallas Cowboys this week. Always a fun matchup. You know, Fred Smooth-Tanema's always talking about how big the rivalry is. When I played, it's a big rivalry, too. Always fun to play this team. They're doing some stuff defensively that's a little bit different. You know, Dan Quinn's this cover 3 guy traditionally, but when I watched it, I see a lot of man, and I felt like Detroit found ways to exploit some of the rules in their coverages. And specifically on this one, I'd be curious to see what you think about it. Is it man? Is it cover 3?
What it looks like is they're bringing some sort of 5-man pressure.
Yeah.
Okay? And when you bring 5-man pressure, you're playing man coverage. And what that tells you is there's no underneath shallow hole help.
Okay.
Okay, because there is no underneath shallow hole help, you can't let your guy get through the middle of the defense within 15 yards.
Right.
You've got to force him to be deeper than that, then convert to an outside position, knowing that he's going to run towards where your only help is, and that's the post safety.
That's really interesting. So, like, if you take a look at number, I think it's 26 or 28 right here, working on Amon-Ra St. Brown. First off, great route by Amon-Ra St. Brown, kind of to sell this 7.
Right.
What would this technique look like in a perfect world from him?
Well, what's happening is because they're doing what we call a switch release, they're switching their patterns, okay? What's happened is now the DBs have to clear each other, which creates a little bit more cushion. And then what Brown's doing is he's leaning on a spray release. He's forcing this guy to get wider than he needs to be. And with the separation, all the receiver's waiting for is for him to cross his feet, so then he knows he can now run the dig route.
That's a great point. And he does right there, crosses his feet, opens his shoulders, gives it to him. And then it's interesting, too, because you pointed out a couple things. We went through this. Obviously, that needs to be better. But the post safety kind of gets infatuated here with Williams running up the middle of the field.
Correct. He's now under duress. Why? Because he's reading a vertical. And he's got to be ready to help on the vertical. So he starts to climb and get depth. Again, notice there's going to be nobody in the middle, nobody between the hashes. So when St. Brown makes the cut underneath, look how open he is, because now he's just running away from the defender, and there is no hole help. The post safety, again, has to respect the vertical through the middle of the field. So as that happens, and then he recognizes, sees that he's got a speed turn, which takes him even wider away from the play, which opens up the crease even bigger.
And I think the other interesting thing is, like, you see this, not all the time, but a fair amount from this defense, but it's covered up a lot by the pass rush. They do a great job rushing the passer, getting after the quarterback. And here, it's a late pressure, but Goff does a great job in the pocket, moving around, and he really makes this play in terms of the throw.
He does, and the big reason, like you said, is because he moves away from the initial pressure, right, which gives him an opportunity to hold the ball and wait for the route to develop, and then he delivers the ball in a perfect spot.
Great. And so great route, great concept, but I think if you can take advantage of, if you can minimize their pass rush, you can put yourself in a good spot to make plays. And I think this next play shows that emphatically, right? They're running, again, quarters, maybe some type of match, cut like 6-ish. I don't know, palms you were saying, but this is basically shallow cross, right? You get a shallow and a sit over the ball, and then every shallow cross is a post on the backside. And they're able to get to it. And
basically what happens, again, if you look at it, as we're trying to figure this coverage out, it could be some version of quarters or some version of quarter halves, okay? And so what's happening is, as the vertical goes to that side, the safety's reading number 2. Okay,
the tight end in this case, right? It's St. Brown.
Right, he's reading him. Okay, and so as he starts to drive underneath, it widens the inside safety, which creates the gap that's going to be exploited, again, by the Detroit offense. See how the safety's been pulled to the side because of the crosser. He's focused in on it. Now what's happened is, as the number 1 receiver starts to push, he gives a little outside move to create some space, and then he breaks back towards the post.
And he can run now. Look at that guy run. That's a great play. But again, this is the other interesting thing. The space here, they're playing this kind of complicated coverage. They're not quite on the same page. Jared Goff is able to beat this. What do you think of that dance, Coach, first off? It's pretty good.
Concerning,
But I will say, Jared Goff is able to make this throw because he does a great job negotiating this rush. So if you can kind of survive the rush, there is air in the back end of this defense.
There is. And again, this actually is a pretty good pass rush, but I think Jared's able to get this off in plenty of time.
And deliver a dime, man. And that guy number 11 is pretty good at football too, though.
He is.
Does a great job. So that's them on offense, I would say, right? Their defense. They kind of do some stuff. There's some space. If you can beat the rush, you're okay. This one, there's not a great deep analysis here, but I'm like, this is an excellent call by Detroit. And what do you say to the guys on the sideline after this happens? Because this should be a safety. And I'm like kind of mad just thinking about it. This should be a safety, but it ends up being a huge play for them.
Well, to me, it's one of those things you can't miss layups. When the blitz is designed and you get the pickup that you anticipate you're going to get for the most part, you got it. And again, here's a couple things that tells you what's going on right off the bat. So 63 signals, he's turning left.
Yeah, right.
Okay. The back goes out. Okay. Now he's out of the picture and he's going to chip his way out.
Yeah.
Okay. So now they're going to turn left.
Yep.
They're going to be short one blocker. Okay. Yep. And the play has to be made.
Yeah, it's interesting that they corrected the slide there, but still, even though the slide's going right, like you're saying here, they have 4 men on this side.
Yes.
So they should really, they're short, and they do a great job with the 2 defensive tackles, Hutchinson, Sutton inside to create this pull by the offensive line. And 55, man, I mean, that's about as clean as you can get, Coach.
Right. And again, as you look at it, you're right. They did correct the slide because now they're seeing 4 to the right.
Yeah.
So the center's going to turn to his right because if you watch him just before he snaps the ball, he sees the movement by the linebacker. Yeah. So he knows right there, wait a minute, I got 4 right, I got to go right. So he's going to turn right. And so which really tells him that as far as Dak is concerned, Dak is now figuring he's got it picked up.
Right.
But what happens is because he's got such great pocket presence, he feels it and is able to step up and duck it. Yeah. And again, to me, you just can't miss the opportunity to make a big play. What you'd like to see in this guy is, wrap. Go to wrap.
Yeah.
He throws a wing like he's going to knock him down. These guys are too big and strong, and he should know that it's just really about hitting, wrapping, and taking them to the ground.
And I also think it just shows you how a game can just flip on one play. That should be a safety. You should be getting the ball back. Ends up being a touchdown for them. Obviously, dynamic playmaker in CeeDee Lamb. We're going to talk about here some more in a second. But got to hit these plays when the opportunity presents itself. And then let's talk about CeeDee. I mean, he's just been a guy that's been super impressive. You mentioned when we kind of reviewed this quickly that this is single high safety. It's a 5-man rush. How would you coach this corner at the bottom of the field down here? Obviously, CeeDee Lamb's going to run a slant.
Right. Again, when you're bringing a 5-man pressure, and they're going to basically green dog the running back.
Right. Green dog means he's going to blitz the back.
He's going to blitz pressure. He's going to rush with pressure. With the idea that if he releases, he's got him.
Right.
Okay, so what happens is there is no longer anybody underneath.
Right.
Okay, so what happens is the best way to beat it, catch something underneath. And so what happens is you want your guys to funnel these guys outside first and then convert. Okay, but what happens is he lets them inside immediately, and there's the throwing line.
Right.
Okay, the inside receiver, he clears out.
Yeah.
Okay. The number 2 receiver works outside,
correct?
Okay, just in case to create any kind of natural pick.
Yeah.
Okay, and then CeeDee just sets them up with a quick shake, gets an inside release, and look at this. Look at this. How open it is.
Yeah.
Again, you've got to force a guy outside and then convert to his outside hip.
Well, this is interesting to me because it's kind of inside baseball because you're always taught, hey, with inside safety, defense will play outside leverage, but you're saying you actually should start inside.
You start inside,
work
and
the
then
transition.
Convert. Now, because if there's no hole help, and that's where the issue comes.
Right.
Without anybody underneath in the 8 to 12 yard range, this is the worst thing that could happen to a defense.
Yeah.
Okay, the worst thing. We saw an example of it because it happened earlier in our breakdowns to Dallas, and now we're seeing Dallas do it right back to Detroit.
That's absolutely right, Coach. I mean, I learn so much every time we do this. I really appreciate your time. Thanks so much, Coach.
All right.
If you like podcasts, you're in luck. Check out these pods we have for you every single week. Get Loud on Mondays with Fred Smoot and Michael Jenkins. Next Man Up on Tuesdays with Brian Colbert Jr. and your favorite Commanders player. This week it's a guy who's been balling out, Khalid Hudson. Command Center on Wednesdays and Fridays with me, Santana, and Fred. And you don't want to miss this week. We play one-on-one, Fred and I. We'll see who wins that one. Make sure you check it out. And the Players Club on Fridays with London Fletcher, Santana Moss, and your favorite Commanders player. This week it's the middle linebacker himself, Cody Barton. Stick around because right after the break, we'll hear from London Fletcher, Santana Moss, and Fred Smoot on how the Commanders can end the season with a win over the Cowboys. This is the Game Plan with Ron Rivera, presented by your local Honda dealer. It's time for some healthy competition presented by Ortho Virginia, official orthopedic and sports medicine partner of the Washington Commanders. Here's a look at the Washington Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys in a head-to-head matchup. Obviously, a lot of these statistics favor the Dallas Cowboys. However, the Dallas Cowboys have the 20th rated rushing defense in the NFL. Will the Washington Commanders and Brian Robinson be able to exploit that weakness? Find out today. For more Commanders content after this show, don't forget to check out Command Center Game Day Live today at 2:30 p.m. with Brian Colbert Jr., B. Mitch, and Santana Moss. Then immediately after the game, tune into the Command Center Post-Game Live with me, Brian Colbert Jr., and Brian Mitchell to give our full, unadulterated thoughts on the Dallas game. That can be found on the Commanders YouTube channel. It's time for your ticket to a dub, presented by SeatGeek, the official primary ticketing partner of the Washington Commanders. Let's hear from the Command Center guys on what they want to see from the team at FedExField today.
All right, gentlemen, it's here. Dallas week. Yeah. We know what this game means to this organization, this team, this community. Yeah. We're going to start with you, Cowboy Killer. What's the ticket to a dub?
Well, I think the ticket to the offensively, I think we have to try to establish a run game. I think when you look at this Cowboys defense, they're basically in top 10, top 5 in everything except for stopping the rush. Yep. So if we can find a way to get B-Rob going, that also leads us to having a better screen game, then getting those guys on the outside down the field open. I think that can kind of give us a chance to possess the football, move the chains, and score. Defensively, we just have to try to hold down Dak. He's on a tear. Yeah, he's playing I think mainly because he's able to run the ball again. Someone told him, like, hey, you can run this football, and we have to slow him down, try to make these guys one-dimensional if possible, and that may be a ticket.
Yeah. Smooth.
Yeah.
CD Lamb.
Yeah.
How we going to deal with him?
I got to piggyback off him. The thing about it is, Quan, let's have fun, Martin. He in his bag. Quan has started to play some good ball. And we know where CD Lamb is going to be. He's going to be in the inside majority of the time. And the one thing about Dak and CD, Dak give him chance after chance after chance to bury you. But speaking of B-Rob, I think weaponizing B-Rob hits the defense. Like at the end of the day, they're bad. They can rush the passer because they built like the old coach team with Peyton Manning. They built to play with a lead. So therefore, find Michael Parsons because he's going to be all over the place. And run right at Michael Parsons. Make him work on the non-pass rush downs so when he does pass rush, it's slower than it usually be.
It's like you stole my ticket. Run the ball because it's going to slow the pass rush down. It'll wear those guys down come fourth quarter. It also shortens the game. We don't want this game to be a high power.
Muddy it up.
Muddy it up. Don't let this pass rush tee off on whoever the quarterback is. And you do those things, and that will be the ticket to a dub.
All right, Coach, you got to love Santana. Very consistent, got to win the turnover battle. I've always been curious as how do you coach that up? Because it's not just, hey, let's go get the ball because everyone wants to do that. What's the methodology?
Well, the big part of it is making sure they understand why it's important. It's about getting your football team getting your offense back on the field, getting your defense off the field, putting your offense in scoring position when you take the ball away early on. So, again, those things really set the tempo and the mood for how the game's going to go.
And you guys have done a good job, getting turnovers the last couple weeks, too, against L.A. That was great to see. What is your ticket to winning this football game?
Well, I don't disagree. I think if you can take the ball away from it, keep the ball on offense, keeps their offense off the field as well. So, again, getting the ball back, keeping them off the field.
Coach, thanks so much. Love the insight. Good luck today. Make sure you guys tune in next week to the Game Plan.